Happy New Year! Welcome to 2025. My name is Wallace Brown, and I am a YouTuber now. So, for my first YouTube video, we're going to talk about this TikTok.
Here's what I said to my dad that resulted in him saying, "Wow, through the power of logic, you're slowly turning me liberal." It started with him saying, "Wallace, would you rather have an airline pilot that's DEI or non-DEI?" Airlines aren't using DEI to audition pilots to fly a plane. DEI is used in admission in the flight schools. In order to be put in the helm of a commercial flight of passengers, you have to complete thousands of hours of flight time to receive your certificate. Then, each individual airline has their own standards and minimums that you need to meet on top of that. Well, yeah, I bet they do that for like pilots and brain surgeons, but I worry about places that don't do that. So you mean like, say, a nonprofit has a job opening and there's two candidates, one's DEI, one isn't? Yeah, I don't like that. I think it should be based off of skill, don't you? Typically, those two candidates are equally qualified for that job. But you have to admit that diversity in and of itself can be a major asset to any team. It can be incredibly helpful to have people from different backgrounds all having eyes on a project or a problem, because they're going to see things that you from your experience will not see, and you will in turn see stuff that they will miss. Huh, yeah, you're right. Wow. Yeah. I mean, Dad, why do you think urban areas tend to be left-leaning while rural areas tend to be more right-leaning? And then I paused to let him think. Then I started to say, I can give you one reason. Because they have diversity. Yeah, wow. Cities are very diverse. Huh. Yeah, I mean, if you grow up in Noah's Ark, Alabama, you're less likely to be exposed to multiple different worldviews than if you're someone growing up in New York. So you're more likely to be presented with something that challenges what you came in with mentally. Okay, I'll agree that diversity can be a good thing, alone. But I think it's a good thing if it's skill and diversity. But there are probably companies that don't hire people that have the right skills. Yeah, you're right. There's probably some companies that do only hire for diversity. But I'm about equally as worried about that as I am like nepotism babies getting jobs they aren't qualified for. And this is the point where I got him. And he leaned back in his seat and he just kind of laughed and he was just like, yeah, wow. No, you're right, because that happens. That really does happen. A lot. Huh. Wow, through the power of logic, you're slowly turning me liberal.
That video is now just under 1 million views, which is insane to me. And I just wanted to say thank you. Thank you for watching it. Thank you for listening to my argument. Thank you for telling me what you think about my argument. Thank you for asking me to look into other things. Thank you for telling me about how this gives you hope. Thank you for calling it Hope Core. I love that I've given people hope in some small way. That's very important, and it's something that I don't take lightly. So that's why I haven't really done anything since, right? I wanted to take a break from social media to hit the ground running at the beginning of the year, and it is now the beginning of the year, and I am finally filming this video. One sentiment or type of question that popped up a lot in the comments, or at least enough to where I wanted to talk about it, was, did this happen? Like, what do you mean he said that? He didn't really say that, did he? This is fake. You're lying. I'm very sensitive to not being believed, so I want to kind of break that down, like, inch by inch, so that I know that I've cleared as much air as I can, okay? One of the questions was, why does it look like I'm reading off of a script if this is something that was a conversation with my dad on FaceTime? And the reason for that is I am a rambler, especially when I'm talking about things that matter to me or things that I'm recounting from memory. And especially this conversation, it meant so much to me and I remembered it so vividly that it was so easy for me to like pull all these different thoughts from outside of the point. So I originally filmed a video where I was just off the cuff, remembering, recalling, and just talking about it. And it was just under 10 minutes long. And when I posted it, it was stuck at 0. And apparently that just happens for like long TikTok videos. So I knew going into it that I was like, okay, I need to try this again. I need to be concise. I need to write down specifically what I remember saying and then clarifying little bits. A lot of it is paraphrased because I wanted to be as clear, as concise as I could be. Like off the cuff conversation is awesome, but I knew that if other people were going to use this for their own conversations, I wanted to file it down to brass tacks. No hemming and hawing. I wanted to pull out numbers and specifics so that the people watching could have that. And I like to think that that was very helpful. So if you saw me darting my eyes over here and darting them back here, that's because I need that. Otherwise, I am going to expound and expound. Is expound a word? Because I have a tendency to ramble and to expound, I didn't want to do that. There are some differences between what I said in the TikTok and what I said to my father. There are some differences, straight up. There is at least one thing though that is 100% verbatim, and that is of course the classic quote that burned itself into my head. Wow, through the power of logic, you're slowly turning me liberal. 100% accurate. Was he being sarcastic? Yes. He was saying it in a funny voice. He was being facetious. One conversation does not break 60 years of being a Republican. Okay? However, the reason he said that to me is because I had convinced him. Convincing someone on one thing, one talking point, is huge. Because do you realize how hard it is to admit that you're wrong? We hate doing that. It is so vulnerable to tell someone that they changed your mind about something. For my dad to, even in a joking way, tell me that I changed his mind, I can't even tell you how much that meant to me. And that's not where it stopped either, because the FaceTime call continued, right? And then the doorbell rang and he said, "Oh, I got a client coming over." And so he stayed on the phone with me though while they were coming in. He does that. So he opens the door, he lets them in. The first thing basically that he says to them was, "Wallace is turning me liberal," which was also facetious. But did you catch it? Not only did he feel vulnerable enough to admit to me that I had changed his mind, he talked to other people and said that I had changed his mind about something. Hearing him say this meant so much to me because I have been working so hard for years figuring out how to talk to my dad in a calm way. And he told them essentially, yeah, she was explaining DEI to me, and she's good at talking about that stuff. When she talks about stuff, you mean you really she puts it up in a way where you really can't disagree. And then I go, no, Dad, you can disagree. And then he goes, yeah, but if I was gonna disagree, I just wouldn't be telling the truth. It's another moment where I'm like, nobody is ever going to believe me that this happened, that he said this to me. Nobody is ever going to believe me that he said this because it was so, that's insane. Has he said something that explosive since? No. I think it's such a rarity. And I experienced it it was so big. Okay. So, like, how did I do that? I go on in the TikTok to explain that I've been talking to my dad about politics for years, and we've just now gotten to kind of the point where I refuse to yell. I'm not going to do it anymore. It doesn't do anything. You're not convincing if you yell. I'm so sorry. And it just makes it seem like I'm emotional. And the thing is, he's the type of person that kind of, you know, he'll attack that. Because if you're emotional, you can't be thinking, right? And is that true? No. However, if that's what they're operating on when they're talking to somebody, that, oh, if they get emotional, they get passionate, they're wrong, then we gotta adapt to where we don't give them that satisfaction, unfortunately. For instance, like a few months ago, I had a screaming match with him about the Epstein files. which is not something that you want to argue with your dad about, especially if you're a woman. Oh my God. Like, we screamed at each other. And I hated it because it's just like, oh my God, what do you mean? What is wrong with you? Why are you not even considering it? You're not even looking to see if you're right because you're afraid of being wrong. And it's so frustrating. So when I got off of that phone call, I didn't talk to my dad for a couple weeks because it just was not fun. And I was mad at him. I'm like, are you kidding me? So it inspired me to look into details. Because if you can pull out details and specifics, you are going to be calmer. I was not operating off of specifics when I was yelling at him. I was operating off of emotion because it's an emotional subject. However, if you take away the volume and the emotion, what do you have to present? Whatever you prepared. So I prepared. And the next time that I talked to my dad about the Epstein files, I pulled out a timeline article on all 33 allegations against Donald Trump in a sexual way. So I just kind of calmly read that to him and was just like, the fact that there's 33 of these, many of them originating before he was in politics, that doesn't budge you at all. And I just kept reading and I calmly read that shit to him. I actually made a TikTok about this a while back, but I'll just say it now. And there was a moment where I could tell he was really getting uncomfortable with what I was telling him. And so I paused and I let him sit for a second. I said, "Tell me what you're feeling." Cuz like he's got to sit in that. He's got to sit in that and actually be affected by what he is hearing. And if you're just bombarding people with information, and you don't give them time to think, they're not going to think. They're going to be defensive because that's their dude, man. They love that guy. So I said, "Tell me what you're feeling." And he said, this is like a number one dad quote. He goes, "Well, I'll admit that Trump's a wolf." And I go, "You mean a predator?" And he goes, "No." And I'm like, "What is the difference between a predator and a wolf?" And he goes, "Oh, I don't know. What if, well, maybe he is, but," and like, the thing is, he still isn't convinced. Some people don't want to be convinced. And also, the idea that you voted in a pedophile is like scary. People don't like being wrong. It's a long road. A year ago, I told him about Veritas. Veritas is a YouTuber that changed my life. He uploaded a 7.5 hour video debunking flat Earth scientifically, specifically, breaking it down bit by bit, argument by argument, like showing so many examples on why they are wrong. It's hard for me to describe the effect that that video had on me because it really did change the way I think about what I believe. I'm going to show you this clip just to kind of summarize.
We get experts on everything. Now, I might be quite wrong. Maybe they do know all this thing. But I don't think I'm wrong. See, I have the advantage of having found out how hard it is to get to really know something. How careful you have to be about checking the experiments. How easy it is to make mistakes and fool yourself. I know what it means to know something. And therefore, I see how they get their information. And I can't believe that they know it. They haven't done the work necessary, haven't done the checks necessary, haven't done the care necessary. I have a great suspicion.
When I initially saw that video, it made me look at myself and think, why do I believe what I think I believe? I know that I'm a leftist right now, you know? But have I taken the time to really think about why I'm a leftist? It made me realize that every single person has a bias. Every single person has a blind spot, has something they didn't see, didn't have access to, or ignored, right? Because we like thinking that we know. Because in this world, we don't know a lot, okay? It is a very confusing life in general. It always has been, it always will be. So the idea that, oh, I am a liberal and I know what I'm talking about, or oh yes, I am a MAGA Republican and I know exactly what I'm talking about and everything he says is right, right? There's confidence there. You have to have a good mixture of confidence and questioning. Hi, Veritas. If you're watching this, I woke up to see that you posted a new video, and it was literally about truth and knowing. And I just want to tell you, because I have literally been planning to film this video on January 1st either way, but the idea that you literally posted another big ass video after we haven't heard from you in a year, the fact that you've posted a big ass video for me to watch about understanding what is true and what's not. Oh my god, you have the best timing and I love you and you're awesome and you changed my life. I haven't finished the video, obviously. It might still be premiering as I'm filming this. It's still going? Oh my god, bro. How long is that? That's crazy. Okay. I know that this was rambly. I am going to find a stopping place. Hello. It is now 5:30 p.m. and while I was editing this video because I'm getting it out today. This video is coming out today. Watch. But when I was editing, I realized that I never actually finished my thought. I just started talking about Veritas until I tired myself out and then ended the video, which also took 15 minutes. Oh my god. So, I'm done with waffling around and rambling. I have something written. I wrote it so that I can say it and be done with the video. By telling my dad about Veritas's flat earth video, its arguments, all the intellectual dishonesty, and showing him the effect it has had on me and the way that I think, I was priming him to be open-minded enough to really listen to me in that conversation. He listened, and he allowed me to change him. Good night. In conclusion, question yourself and the things that you believe until you are able to point to the reasons why you believe things. If you arm yourself with reasons why you're sure of something, then you will enter any conversation very calmly. And the calmness is the only way. We will not get anything done if we are yelling at each other. It just makes people upset. Or it makes people go evil and then be like, ha ha ha, I'm not going to listen to woman screaming. Have a very lovely day. Check out the Veritas Flat Earth video. It's fucking incredible. And watch his other stuff too. He's awesome. He is awesome. He's awesome. Okay. I am now a YouTuber as of today, so I will see you in my next upload. I need you to understand how long it has taken for me to be done filming this fucking video. 1,000,000 times. 1,000,000 times. When I tell you I'm a rambler, I'm such a rambler. So, okay, stop ramble, stop. I love talking. And that's what makes people more intelligent, is asking questions. And they don't ask questions because they don't want to be wrong. Sometimes you're going to be wrong. Sometimes you're going to see something and you're just going to be like, I thought that was different. I misremembered a John Lennon fact. That happened recently. I made a video that was silly and it was a Beatles video, and I love the Beatles so much. I misremembered an event, a historical event, and I spread misinformation accidentally. Because I just forgot.